Hey guys, so today's video is a deep dive into the first Dramageddon that happened. So it's going to be everything up until apology videos, essentially, and then after that there was a bit of a break, and then obviously we got Dramageddon 2 and Dramageddon 3. That's kind of how it's been split up, and it essentially happened like in different, it was just like segmented, and then there was like a bit of a break in between. So I'm gonna do Dramageddon 1 today, which was essentially just 2018. So today's video is very kindly sponsored by Wild, who have been a great supporter of this channel, so I hope you support them too. And I'm coming to you guys with an amazing offer of a 30% discount if you use my link in the description. They also have some new limited edition scents that I'm so excited to show you guys, and a limited edition case. Now, just a little bit about Wild. If you watch my channel, you probably already know this, but if you're new, I cannot use regular deodorants. For some reason, my skin is just a big no-no. It essentially just ends up being like a itchy rash, super dry. And this is mainly shea butter, which is great because it nourishes my armpits. Also shave, and that just doesn't help with the whole dryness. So using Wild has really honestly helped me. And if you suffer with like dry armpits, or I don't know, I'm laughing, it's very serious. If you suffer with like dry armpits or very sensitive armpits, I really recommend Wild. It's been honestly life-changing, but also they do have a even more sensitive version for like if you're really sensitive. I've been fine with just the regular option, but there is that other option for you guys. You can also pick from a bunch of like forever cases. These are cases that you're not gonna throw out, which is amazing. I think this is honestly the best way to do this kind of deodorant. If you're trying to be eco-friendly, like there is no reason why you should be throwing away the outside case. And then the inside refill is pure cardboard. So you use up your deodorant, you throw away the refill, and then you add in a new refill, but you keep your case. You can also engrave your case for an extra £5, and you can pick from a bunch of different scents. They have limited edition scents all the time, which are always incredible. From just the regular line, I love the coconut and vanilla, as well as mint and eucalyptus. So if there are no limited edition options, these are two that I would highly recommend. They make me feel super fresh and just clean. There's 3 new scents that are super crispy. There's mulled wine, apple and cinnamon, and frankincense and myrrh, which like these scents are super original. When they told me they were releasing a Christmas line, I thought they were just gonna be like traditional, typical scents, and they all smell so festive but so amazing. I think my favorite is apple and cinnamon, but the mulled wine, it all just smells so good. And also this new case, it's super reflective. I love it. It's so Christmassy. I can't wait to use this, honestly. And it's engraved with my name, and I'm never going back from using Wild. So thank you to Wild for sponsoring today's video. 30% discount will be in the description with my link. Let's go back to the deep dive. So let's just get into all of that. I am going to be doing my makeup while I explain this, which is something that I do occasionally when I don't forget, and sometimes I do my makeup beforehand and I just forget to do it. Anyway, all my social media links will be in the description. I also have a TikTok account where I do short form drama commentary content. I also have a podcast about life related things and anything kind of like more personal. So let's just get into all of that. The beginnings of this are a bit complicated because it didn't really start where it started. So I'm actually gonna take you guys back a few months before Dramageddon started and kind of like the build up to it. The bulk of my research was just like old drama content, which was kind of a trip to go. It was a bit of a memory lane, to be honest. So I just used a bunch of different drama videos, whether it be Tea Spill, you know, she was massive at the time. That's kind of how everyone grew. Here for the Tea, who has obviously sadly passed away. I will take you guys back to kind of the earliest time where it was kind of interesting because something was clearly going on, but no one really knew what was going on. So it's kind of like November 2017 is the beginnings of it all. So the main players in this Dramageddon were Jeffree Star, obviously, Manny, Laura Lee, Nikita Dragun, Gabriel Zamora, and then kind of this was the beginning of Shane Dawson as well, appearing in the beauty community and appearing with Jeffree Star. So he kind of doesn't really play a role, but it's kind of the beginnings of the further kind of Dramageddons that happened down the line. So as we all know, Manny, Laura, and Jeffree were really good friends, allegedly. That's kind of what they made us believe through all their kind of posts together and all their like makeup collabs that they did and video collabs, and they all went to these, you know, on these wonderful trips together and yada. They must believe they had this wonderful friendship. Nikita Dragun was also kind of friends with everyone at the time, and Gabriel Zamora comes into the story kind of later on, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So I'm just gonna focus on kind of Manny, Laura, and Jeffree, and then kind of Nikita as well. She does like to kind of stick to her own stuff, but she was very close with Jeffree for a bit, and therefore she was also friends with Manny and Laura. All seemed well. Manny and Jeffree had a collab together, like, you know, things were looking good. Jeffree was reviewing some of their makeup, they were reviewing his makeup. You know, they were probably good friends, but they also were very beneficial to each other's businesses, which is, you know, kind of nice. They were friends for a while, and then November 2017 rolls around, and it is being speculated that Jeffree Star, Laura, and Manny are not friends anymore. Kind of the beginning where screenshots started going around, subtweets were happening, like they just weren't hanging out as much. There was a trip that they all went on, and apparently, I mean, I wasn't really there for all of that happening. Like, I think I wasn't as invested in the drama community back then. I kind of became more invested in like 2019, which was probably a year later. So I wasn't like on Snapchat and like watching everyone's stories, but watching it back, apparently it seemed that that trip was really kind of like the last remnants of their friendship. It really came across as really like forced, and like they just weren't really friends, but they were keeping up appearances for the sake of the public. That's kind of where people were at. In November 2017, it was coming up to his birthday, and you could tell like a big change in the friendship happened because none of them like publicly wished him a happy birthday, which like it sounds petty, but when you have this public friendship, anything you do or don't do publicly is a big deal because you've made this friendship public, so then everything else publicly that happens is a big deal. Manny tweeted around this time when it was Jeffree Star's birthday, you know, Jeffree Star is posting all the flowers he's getting, all the birthday wishes he's getting, but there is seemingly nothing from Manny or Laura. Manny starts tweeting about muting haters around this time, and it seems to be probably Jeffree Star fans that are wondering why Manny and Laura are not wishing him a happy birthday or like what's going on, you know, so he's muting people. Someone named Connie actually responded to that and said how shady it was to not wish Jeffree Star a happy birthday while wishing it to strangers on the internet, because around this time, Manny had actually wished like a random stranger on Twitter happy birthday but didn't say it to Jeffree Star, which was just another sign of like, maybe this was done maliciously to like make Jeffree Star feel bad on his birthday, like who knows, right? But like wishing a stranger happy birthday but not wishing your alleged best friend happy birthday is definitely a bit of a shady thing to do. So this person, Connie, says that. People start, you know, chiming in saying, oh, you know, you guys don't know the back end of things, you don't know kind of what's going on. People are just kind of arguing in the comment section as they would. And Jeffree Star responds to someone defending Manny that Manny never said happy birthday. And then he actually tweeted later on that it like wasn't about who you think it is. And then, you know, Jeffree Star does this thing where he quite clearly shades someone and then literally a day later is like, no, why would you guys assume that I was shading this person? Not everything is about who you think it's about, but like quite clear is about that. Jeffree Star loves to do this like backpedaling thing when like he wants to look like he doesn't enjoy being in drama, but he actually loves being in drama. So that's kind of like what was going on here. He obviously started being like, oh, you know, it wasn't about who you think it's about, not everything is about, yada yada yada, but we all know that it was about Manny anyway that he was tweeting. Laura also tweeted that people shouldn't assume what is happening, and then there were more tweets that kind of followed that. So then there was a lot of speculation that Jeffree Star was actually the one that invested / co-founded both of their brands. Obviously Manny was coming out with his brand, and so is Laura Lee, and obviously makeup brands are quite expensive to like get going at the beginning. So obviously people assumed that because Jeffree Star was friends with them and he was much more wealthy than them, that he would have been the one to start their brands. And both Manny and Laura immediately said, no, we start our own brand. So they can clearly see what's going on the internet, what people are thinking, because they're responding to it. So they can see that people are speculating on this whole friendship, and it's kind of being kept under wraps at this moment. So then Manny and Jeffree Star post on Snapchat they met up to discuss their friendship. Apparently they're going through like a rough patch, but they're kind of trying to sort it out essentially. So people are kind of thinking like, okay, they're gonna be okay, right? You can kind of tell that the cracks are showing in the friendship, like clearly things are just going wrong, but they're trying to sort it out for now. I'm assuming having those friendships kind of was good for them publicly and good for their careers, so they're trying to keep it up, but cracks are showing, right? So at this time, Nathan actually follows both Manny and Laura, but Jeffree Star is still following them. And then Jeffree and Laura unfollow each other after subtweeting about her being evil, because someone's like, oh, you know, you never know about what people's intentions are and yada, and Jeffree Star essentially responds as like, you don't know who she is, I know what she's like, I regret bringing her to my audience, and she's evil. And then they unfollow each other. Now that is obviously a big tell that they're like not friends anymore. So Thomas Halbert then actually jumps in, subtweets Laura because she had like a benefit collab that she did. So Jeffree Star actually unblocked them and then kind of responded to that and was like, facts, like trying to be very like shady, as Jeffree Star does. Jeffree Star then starts tweeting about purging fake people and then follows that up with a Snapchat story about it as well, just basically being like, there are so many fake people in the industry, I'm purging my following list. This kind of links to my Tati Westbrook video where I said like, Tati was being shamed for being kind of in her 30s and in drama, but Jeffree Star's been doing this for years. And he's about the same age as her and he acts so much more childish. So I don't know. We kind of skip a few months. There's obviously some subtweets. I'm not going to discuss every single subtweet that ever happens on the internet because we would be here all day and it's really not necessary. But at the beginning of January, he starts tweeting about cutting off evil people in the beauty space. So it's like 3 months later now and he's once again like discussing the same thing that he said he wouldn't discuss, and he puts a Snapchat story with it to be like, you know, you guys are focusing so much on like me saying that I'm gonna like unfollow people, but like it doesn't really matter, like I'm just like getting rid of negativity. And like he's almost like shaming people for being interested in what he's tweeting about when he's been tweeting about it for like 3 months now non-stop. So it always just felt like with Jeffree it was just a constant like little game for him, which is why I didn't ever really buy into like the like everyone around him is such a clout chaser. Like this is the kind of people he attracts for a reason. It's because he's a clout chaser himself, and he's an evil man, in my opinion. So then we jump to April 8th, 2018. Manny tweets about seeing an old friend's nudes on Tumblr, and you're gonna be like, Angelika, what's this got to do with absolutely anything? You wait and see. So this was around the time that Nate, obviously Jeffree's ex, his nudes were making rounds on all sorts of social media platforms, and Jeffree was understandably humiliated. It is revenge, which makes it illegal to post. And Jeffree was also humiliated because now there were stories going around that he's being cheated on by Nate, which he's trying to disprove this whole time by saying, you know, oh, these snaps were taken before me and Nate were together. But when you look at tattoos that Nate had at the time, in those snaps he has a deer tattoo on his thigh, kind of on his outside thigh, and that was a tattoo that he got while he was with Jeffree. So there is literally no way, like tattoos don't lie. Jeffree was being cheated on at the time, allegedly. That was clearly like a humiliating thing, but besides the point, it is revenge. It's not something that should have been out on the internet. Just because someone is famous or is dating someone famous doesn't mean that you get to post their news on the internet without their consent. If someone really wanted to let Jeffree know that he was being cheated on, they could have just DM'd him. And that would have been that, right? Manny tweets about obviously seeing someone's nudes, and Jeffree Star responds to that in a way that looks friendly if you're not kind of in the know. But he says in the beginning of the tweet, life's a drag. And you know, you might think, oh, this is in reference to Manny's palette, like his eyeshadow palette, Life's a Drag. But at the time, Life's a Drag wasn't even announced. So what Jeffree Star did was essentially leak the name of Manny's palette, because it had already been trademarked, so it was already going through, but he essentially leaked it to be like, if you don't shut your mouth, I will leak more. Like this was Jeffree Star allegedly letting Manny know that if he doesn't stop overstepping lines, he's gonna make him pay. Because Jeffree Star's thing is always like, I have dirt on everyone. Like all my friends are scared to come out against me because I have dirt on everyone. The Life's a Drag thing isn't dirt, but it just like is a way of Jeffree showing Manny that like, hey, I'm not afraid to say things publicly. Allegedly. This is all allegedly my opinions and my commentary and my analysis of the situations. So then he subtweets about Manny a few more times after this, and that's kind of that for that situation. Then we jump to April 15th, literally a week later. Now we can tell that Jeffree, Manny, Laura, they're not friends anymore. So clearly there is some like animosity because things just kind of didn't work out between them. And Gabriel, Manny, Laura, and Nikita do a 4-way get ready with me without Jeffree Star, and that really set the tone for what would happen literally in the next few months. The comments under this video are very mixed. There are some Jeffree Star fans that are kind of catching on to the fact that Jeffree Star is being excluded from everything and that they're all shading each other and that no one is friends. And obviously Jeffree Star's fans are, to this day, very loyal to him, and back then even more so because he had an even more loyal and like massive fan base. Now, you know, a lot of people have left because of everything that was released in all the Dramageddons kind of after this Dramageddon, but during this Dramageddon he was really starting to gain a very loyal audience that was there to defend him whenever things go wrong. So this really amps up the allegations of obviously none of them being friends anymore, and that includes Gabriel and Nikita in this allegation now. So then we're getting a lot of kind of people starting to get really annoyed with Manny, Laura, Gabriel, and Nikita, but mainly Manny and Laura because they were kind of like the closest with Jeffree Star. We're starting to get a lot of people kind of filming exposed videos on them or trying to drag them, or, you know, whether rightfully or unrightfully so, they're being dragged, okay? So Manny posts a video called We Need to Talk, I'm Sorry, where he discusses anxiety and depression. I'm assuming all of this was really causing him quite a bit of stress. Whether he was kind of in the right, in the wrong, that's not really for me to talk about right this second. It was definitely causing him a lot of anxiety, you can tell. So he obviously didn't say, oh, I'm having a lot of anxiety because my friend is being a weirdo on the internet, keeps on subtweeting me. Even though Manny was also weird. Like all of them were kind of in that clout chasey era of the internet where like they just kept on like clout chasing off of each other, but then dragging each other and then subtweeting each other. But then like everyone took Jeffree Star's side, even though they all acted as childish as each other, if that makes sense. This is the only thing I have an issue with. I think all of them acted abysmally, but it was very interesting to see how like Jeffree Star's behavior was always swept under the rug and like excused, whereas their behavior wasn't. That's all I'm saying right now. Okay, so it's causing him anxiety and depression, but he didn't say that. He just said, I'm having a lot of anxiety and depression. So then we get the infamous picture. This was August 12th, 2018. So it was literally about 2 weeks after this. They all went on a NARS brand trip. And by they all, I mean Gabriel, Nikita, Manny and Laura went on a NARS brand trip, which was probably their most like regretful moment, because it really was the start of the end for them. Like, they've bounced back since, kind of. I'll discuss that kind of towards the end of the video, but it really was the start of the end for them, just with everything. It was crazy what this brand trip did. I wonder what NARS was thinking at the time as well. Like, when all of this was happening, it was obviously not that many people were talking about NARS, but it was a NARS trip, and every drama channel would say, you know, oh, they were on a NARS trip. Like, I wonder what the implications of that were for NARS. Like, I want to know like the internal meetings that they had, and like, what were they talking about when this was happening? Like, oh my God, we're never having another brand trip again. This is a mess. Or like, what was the vibe? You know, was it good for them? I don't really know. I don't know. Around this time, Kylie Jenner had posted this picture with her friends, kind of like flipping off the camera, you know, good vibes. You know the drill. When they went on this NARS trip, Gabriel, Nikita, Laura, and Manny took a picture very kind of similar to it. And that would have been fine in itself, except when Gabriel posted it the next day without anyone's permission, he captioned it with "just bitter because without him we're doing better," which, with all the drama going on, everyone obviously knew that it was about Jeffree Star. Like, there was no way to avoid that. Everyone was like, oh, this is about Jeffree Star. Like, it wasn't even like a mystery. It was just kind of like, right. But like, Gabriel wasn't involved in the drama because Gabriel wasn't ever really that close with Jeffree anyway. So like, he really got himself involved in drama that didn't involve him, and then really just messed it up for everyone else, and then dragged Manny for being upset about it. That really blew me away. That like took me for a spin. I know a lot of people really appreciated Gabriel's response in all of this. I thought it was a little bit shady, but that's just me. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinions. I just would have been probably equally as upset with Gabriel back in those days as Manny had been. And I feel like Manny really got dragged for that. I don't know. I just feel like people don't realize how much like money was on the line for everyone involved with how much they were getting dragged. Some rightfully so. Like, of course, there were like a lot of racist tweets. I'm not talking about that, but like Manny didn't have any tweets released, and it still really affected him. Like, to this day, he's being affected by it, right? My base looks so flawless today. I don't know what's going on. Something happened. I was being blessed by the makeup gods, and the makeup is looking flawless today. I don't know. And I'm not even leaving my house. I'm gonna take this off in like 2 hours. When Gabriel Zamora posted this picture, he posted more tweets about not wanting to support a racist, how he has heard Jeffree Star say racist things himself, which means that now Gabriel Zamora is admitting that he posted this because obviously his friends have issues with Jeffree Star, but also because he personally has issues with Jeffree Star being racist in the past and currently as he knows him. To the point of Jeffree Star saying the hard R N-word in front of Gabriel Zamora along with other people. So this isn't just Gabriel being like, oh, my friends have issues with this person, so I have issues with them too. Gabriel Zamora admitted that this is an issue that he also has with this person because they're racist. Let's not forget that. That is what he said. But apparently he was keeping it real. I don't know. I don't have an issue with Gabriel Zamora in this current day, but I think back then, people gave him a lot of leeway. And I think he was being really shady. Laura's tweets are leaked about black men running from the police, Asian people, and fat people. Gabriel Zamora's tweets were leaked using the N-word that he posted a written apology for on Twitter. This was a caption that he did on Instagram that, you know, when you used to post on Instagram, you could like tweet it straight on Twitter. Laura deactivated all like her whole Twitter account and then deleted all her tweets. Gabriel, Manny, and Laura also losing subs on YouTube, but Gabriel was losing the least amount of subs. I guess because he had like the least to lose from. Without being shady, like he was the least known in that friendship group. So if you have less subs proportion, you're going to be losing less subs because there'll be less people in that group involved in the drama. If that, I don't know if that made any sense. This was more about Laura and Manny than it was about Gabriel in any way. Jeffree Star tweets about the situation and then retweets some shady tweets, which Patrick Star ends up liking, which Patrick and Manny had fallen out kind of a while before this. So it was kind of, people are basically saying that there's a pattern of behavior for Manny anyway for clout chasing off friends and then dropping them when they're not important to him anymore. Jeffree Star posted the infamous laughing Snapchat video. Laura finally posted a written apology about her racist tweets. Manny quote tweets Gabriel Zamora's apology and said that he didn't see that he liked the original picture because he was just running around the hotel room. So he was basically just like, Gabriel posted this, me and Nikita just liked it without really looking at it, like basically putting kind of all of the blame on Gabriel when, I mean, in reality, it was Gabriel's fault. Like, no one really asked him to post this video, this picture, no one asked him to make that caption, no one asked him to get involved. Like, Gabriel's, and I'm gonna spoiler alert, like when Gabriel posted this video, I'm gonna talk about this in a minute, he said like, oh, I saw, you know, how my friends were really upset behind the scenes, and they kept on like saying negative things about Jeffree Star, so like I got involved. Like, okay, people saying things behind the scenes is not the same as them wanting to say it publicly. Like, that is super childish to assume that like, well, I was allowed to say it publicly because they were saying it privately. That's not how things work. And that's why I just don't really understand this drama. I don't get it. I would understand like Laura Lee made racist tweets, Nikita made racist tweets, Gabriel made racist tweets. Nikita made some tweets about like children deserving being abused because they're ugly or something like that. Like, it was really just like so pathetic. I don't know. Essentially, I don't understand if like the whole drama was just like all those tweets being revealed and people being rightfully upset about those. But like all of this like clout chasing stuff didn't ever really make sense to me because Jeffree Star was as much a clout chaser as everyone else. But the only reason he was really getting away with all this stuff is because this was around the time that Shane Dawson's first docuseries on Jeffree Star was dropping, and all of a sudden everyone had this much like sympathy for Jeffree Star because he cried on camera for a bit. So really the tide was turning for Jeffree, and this was just not the right time. I feel like if this drama had happened a year earlier or a year later, he would not be getting the support that he did, and they probably wouldn't have lost as many subs as they did. But because they gained a lot of their subs from being friends with Jeffree, the moment they snaked him, everyone left. I don't really care if you agree with me or not. Like, I'm sure we can have a civil conversation about this without people shouting at me. If you think Manny was the bad guy, tell me about it, but in a nice way. If you think Laura was the bad guy, tell me about it. If you think Jeffree was the bad guy, tell me about it. But we don't have to shout at each other, even though I'm shouting right now. I just feel like people get so heated about this story, and I'm like, everyone's allowed to have their own opinion. Like, it happened 3 years ago, who cares? This is just a fun thing to talk about. Nikita posted a Snapchat apology.
Hi Dragons, I'm finally back home. I mean, it was a very, very long day of traveling yesterday, from Amsterdam all the way to LA, and I'm just finally back home, and honestly, there's no place I'd rather be, and I'm just so happy to be home right now. Ooh, girl, but even with all that traveling, with them losing my bag on the way back here, and the jet lag, and everything else, there's still some things I gotta say. I just wanted to say that I'm not the same person I was a year ago. I'm not the same person I was 3 years ago, 6 years ago. I mean, even at that time, I was what, like 15 as a boy in Virginia. And I know I have said some very insensitive things, especially when I was younger. I take full responsibility, but I know I'm constantly changing as a person and evolving. I've literally changed from that 15-year-old boy in middle school, trying desperately to fit in and trying desperately to find who I was as a person. I mean, I've changed physically. I mean, girl, I have a whole new motherfucking face than I did. I've changed emotionally as a person, and my whole being is changed after transitioning into female and going through this whole process these past 3 years. I mean, it's just like, I am not the same person. Even with all these fake tweets and accusations and whatever else, I just wanted to say that I know who I am as a person at the end of the day, and I just wanted to express my absolute love and gratitude to my dragons, to anyone who supports me, to my followers, because without you guys, I would never have gotten to this point, and I would have never found the courage to really become who I truly am. And I just wanted to say I love you guys so much, and that's all.
And then a tweet apology. Gabriel Zamora unfollowed Manny but kept following the others, and there were more Snapchat stories posted by Jeffree Star about all of his ex-friends. He was really thriving in this moment, really thriving. August 19th, Manny posts I Will Do Better, which is a video that he made, a YouTube video, about a Beauty Bay meet and greet he did with Jeffree Star, where a fan spoke out about their experience with Manny, that he like made a face at her during the meet and greet, and he explained that was because she kind of walked up to them while they were doing the meet and greet. He went out to kind of hug her, and she walked right past him to go hug Jeffree Star, and he made like a weird face about it. And then he also got called out for complaining that an Uber driver couldn't speak English. So that was like the two things that he got called out for. August 20th/21st, it's kind of, I couldn't quite pinpoint when she posted this video because it's been deleted. She posted her infamous apology video where she's like crying without any tears, and then there's a cut and then there's a tear, you know, which didn't go over too well. August 22nd, Gabriel Zamora posted his My Truth video where he discusses the picture posted on Twitter aimed at Jeffree Star with Laura, Manny, and Nikita. He says that an alt tweet came up that he doesn't actually say what was in the tweet, which is convenient because it was the N-word. So you'd think he'd say, I said the N-word, I'm sorry. He just said, you know, I said something really inappropriate, you know? And he also gets angry that people called him a racist and almost shames them for using the word racist against him. We're like using the N-word, you know? I don't know. After posting this video, he was praised and actually gained subscribers, which is mind-boggling to me based on like the reaction to everyone else, mainly Manny and Laura. He says sorry to Jeffree Star for bullying him with a photo, even though he himself heard Jeffree Star be racist and clearly wanted to shame him on the internet because he didn't like him. But then when the tide was turning for Jeffree, Gabriel in that moment decided to be on the right side of the drama and join Jeffree Star's side because that was the popular side in that moment. He didn't want to go against the grain. He didn't want to, you know, lose subs because he saw what's happening to Manny and Laura, who stuck to their guns and just said like, we're not friends with Jeffree Star. So a lot of weirdness was going on around this time. He talks about how he posted the picture without the others knowing, and Nikita called him to tell him like, hey, everyone will know who this is about. He said he knows, but he's fed up with how Jeffree Star is treating them. So once again, he's saying like, I was fed up with how he was treating you guys. I thought he deserved this. And then all of a sudden it was, well, it's not my fault. Like, you guys were saying this privately. Like, I thought this video was really, it wasn't as good as everyone made it out to be back in the day. Like, I remember he was getting so much praise for it back in the day. And like, I was eating this drama up. Well, I wasn't like that invested in it, like I said before, but like, I watched all the main videos. I just didn't watch like all the Snapchat stories. I wasn't like so in depth with it. But like, I was eating this video up when I was 18. And now looking back on it as a 22-year-old, not that I've grown like that much, but I've grown quite a bit. I don't think this video is as good as everyone made it out to be. Like, I'm actually quite disappointed in this video. I don't know, like, I'm glad he said sorry in like the first minute for the racist tweet and the caption, but like everything else just seemed like a bunch of waffle with like, I'm so real sprinkled in. I don't know. I'm sure everyone's changed since then. I've changed since then. Like, everyone's changed since then. But I just think this video wasn't as good as everyone made it out to be, in my opinion. Nikita then comes up to him and says that it looks like we all did this to bully him, and they all started getting hate for it. So he said sorry to them, and they said it's fine, but it's just wrong timing because of the docuseries, which he thought was really dumb. But like, how is it dumb? Let me try and explain what I'm saying, right? Laura, Manny, and Nikita said, hey, Shane Dawson's making this series on Jeffree Star. That's making Jeffree Star look really good, and he's gaining a really wide audience. And now you're making it look like we're all bullying him, which is making everyone else bully us. It's just wrong timing to do this right now, which I think is a very valid thing to say. Like, no one really wants to get mass hate on the internet. And to him, it was like, oh, so you guys don't want to speak out the truth because, you know, you don't want to be on the wrong side of history. And then literally flip-flops, says sorry to Jeffree Star publicly, says sorry for bullying him, even though he said that Jeffree Star is privately a raging racist. And then wants to jump to the right side of history because he can see that Jeffree Star is now supporting him, which is why he gained about 200,000 subs because Jeffree Star promoted his video. It's okay for me, but not for thee? I don't know. I was just a little bit confused. So Laura asks for the picture to be deleted, which I think is a very valid, you know, question. Request, not question. The old tweet came up of his, and he's being painted out to be a racist, which is exactly what he said. He was being painted out to be a racist. That, I just don't understand how that wording slipped through the cracks for everyone. They started traveling kind of back from the brand trip, because obviously the NARS trip. So they were having a layover in, he said, Amsterdam. So obviously there was like the first flight, a layover, and the second flight. They start traveling back, and while they're traveling back, Nikita asks if he's okay, but mentions that everyone's tweets started to resurface because of this. She's like, hey, like, I hope you're fine, but like, I hope you know that because of this, people started digging into our pasts, and it's just not looking good for anyone. 15 minutes into the second flight after the layover, his friends approach him, and the chat is mainly led by Manny, and they talk about how their PR team wants this to go. So they want Gabriel to take full accountability and post his first apology, and then they're gonna go one by one and gauge the reaction from the previous one. Now, this is really the bit where everyone was a bit like, oh, Manny is calculated. I think that it was calculated. I think if you want to apologize, just put out an apology. If you want to say sorry, just say sorry. If you're going to do this whole like, well, one person's going to post and we're going to gauge the reaction, then you're not really sorry, and you don't really want to say sorry. You just want to have a PR cleanup, right? I think that was calculated, but I think Manny saying that Gabriel should take full accountability for posting the picture is a completely valid thing to say. So I think they're both in the right and they're both in the wrong, which I don't think was the nuanced take back then. In 2018, people were just like, Gabriel is right, Jeffree is right, Manny, Laura, and Nikita are wrong. And like that, there was no nuance in that take. I think they were all equally right and all equally wrong. Because everyone except for Manny had problematic tweets. Jeffree has a whole problematic past. They're all clout chasers. They were all clout chasers back in the day. They were all just climbing the ladder and trying to see who they can use to, you know, get an impact. Like, Gabriel made these statements about Manny while also calling Jeffree a raging racist one day, and the next day being super happy because Jeffree is retweeting his video and he's gained now 200,000 subs from it. Like, everyone was a clout chaser at the time. I don't know why it was this like crazy take to assume that every one of them was wrong. I think all of them are wrong. I think all of them brought this upon themselves. The best part is there was no nuance when this was happening, and then literally a year later ish, Bye Sister happens, and everyone's like, oh, Jeffree Star is actually a bad guy. As if we couldn't have guessed it from the first Dramageddon. Because Jeffree Star didn't look good in this. Like, he didn't look like the good guy in this, but he was just gaining traction by being friends with Shane Dawson, so it wasn't the popular take to say that Jeffree Star was also the bad guy. Manny apparently seemed the most in kind of like survival mode, like he was just trying to like get a good PR statement going. So Laura then apparently called him, and they had like this cry on the phone, like they were just crying on the phone, and she apparently seemed really genuine. She did say that she wants to just apologize and just say sorry, and that she feels really bad. So then she posted that tweet apology and her video apology, and he kind of said that that seemed really genuine, which I'm assuming is why he ended up unfollowing Manny but not the rest of them, because he felt like Manny was being very calculated, which I can see happening. I definitely see that Manny was being very calculated in this, just trying to like see how he can fix his career, whereas Laura was just really upset about the whole thing happening, and I bet she felt really awful for making those tweets. Mainly now because they resurfaced, but also maybe she actually did feel bad that she made them in the first place, but I don't know, I'm not in her head, I don't know what's going on. She made some tweets and they resurfaced and she felt about it, as she would. So obviously then he talks about how Manny didn't make like a full apology, he just like quote tweeted Gabriel's apology, which to him seemed really calculated. I think, yeah, it just sounded a bit like, don't quote tweet someone else's apology and be like, oh, I appreciate you doing this. Just make your own apology. Like, I think everyone back then really f***ed up. Like, on so many different levels, I think they all just really messed up. But it was really the first, like, massive drama that we saw in the beauty sphere. And I think they were just not equipped to deal with it at all. Manny allegedly always talks about Jeffree Star in the background, like, in private, and uses him for advantage. As if Gabriel didn't really do the same. I don't know, they all did the same. I just think they're all guilty. Manny then tweeted against Gabriel and liked tweets against him, and that's where Manny really loses me. Like, that was really messy. Like, Manny was quite clearly shading Gabriel. He was like in tweets being like, this was an interesting 24 hours. He liked tweets being like, I would never like forgive a friend for doing this to me. Like, he was like in really messy tweets, and this is where Manny really loses me, because like, what was the need? You wanted to have this like beautiful PR statement in survival mode, and you're liking messy tweets. Just post your apology and go. Why are we doing this? So he sent an apology privately to Jeffree Star, and I mean Gabriel Zamora, not everyone else, and Jeffree Star responded privately with his side of the story. So Gabriel felt like he was lied to by his friends about the falling out and kind of why it happened. So now he's kind of like, oh, Jeffree Star is telling me his side of the story. But like, besides the point, didn't you say that you heard him say the hard R N-word behind the scenes? Like, what do you mean, oh my god, my friends lied to me about like why they all fell out, so now I'm gonna like be on Jeffree's side? Didn't you tweet out that you heard Jeffree Star say the hard R N-word? Besides the point, if your friends embellished their side of the story, you literally said, I know this man is a racist, and now all of a sudden you're like, well, he told me his side of the story, and like, I really appreciated that. Did no one else catch on to this? Did no one else catch on to this back in the day? I don't know why he gained 200,000 subs from this. I'm sure Gabriel was a really nice guy right now, but back then, I don't really see it, I don't know. So August 23rd, Manny posts the video called My Reality Check, a day after Gabriel's video, and he says sorry to Gabriel, says that his judgment was clouded because of all the like shit that he was getting regarding the photo. He didn't want to say sorry because he was being prideful, he had no issues with Jeffree Star, and the picture wasn't his choice. He addresses the pattern that he has, that Gabriel kind of discussed, that he is a clout chaser. The pattern is Patrick Star, Jeffree Star, and now Gabriel. I don't think that's a crazy pattern. Like, I think if you lose 3 friends along the way, I don't think that's a pattern. I think what is a pattern though is Jeffree Star. Like, Jeffree Star is the common denominator in all of these friendships. Manny, Laura, Gabriel, Patrick, Thomas. I'm gonna get onto Patrick Star and Thomas Halbert in a minute, but Jack and Hill, so many people. Like, you can say that there is a pattern for Manny, but there sure as hell is a pattern for Jeffree Star, because he's lost every single friend that he had on the internet except for Shane Dawson, because Shane Dawson got cancelled just about as much as Jeffree Star did. So they just kind of stick together. But Jeffree Star has no other friends in the industry. So if you're going to tell me that there's a pattern for Manny, sure, you can say that. You can say that Manny is a clout chaser, that he uses people and then discards them as he pleases, but you can definitely say the same about Jeffree Star. So for Gabriel to make that one statement but not make the same statement about Jeffree Star is mind-boggling to me. But once again, this comes as a nuanced take 4 years later. Of course, I can make an informed opinion now because I'm not in the midst of the drama with them, and it's so easy for me to look back on it and be like, well, of course, like, this is a nuanced take. But back then, I guess I can't blame them for having really weird takes because they were like in the midst of the biggest drama of all time. October 5th, Manny comes back after taking a break with the video called Where I've Been. He deleted all apps to fully disconnect from the internet and the drama. He's been in a limbo, doesn't want to post another apology, but kind of wants to address it again before going back to making regular content, which makes sense. It would be weird if he just went back to like, this is my October haul. I have to check the date. He planned content kind of about himself to post after this, and it's supposed to like show the real him, his issues, and he did like a 2-part series about like how his dad used to be homophobic and how they've overcome that, how he dealt with the drama, being kind of put into a hospital because he had so much anxiety regarding the drama. He basically had like a massive panic attack, and just discussed how the drama kind of took a toll on his life, essentially. I remember watching it back then when it came out, but I'm not gonna get into that too much because it's not really part of the drama, it's just part of like the outcome of the drama, but it's not like part of Dramageddon to me. So since then, actually like I haven't finished doing my makeup. Hold on, give me a minute. That looks so much better. Just like a little bit of brow gel. This is the Glossier Brow Flick, my favorite brow gel. Like, just what it can do, you know? I think it's crazy. Also, this is the ColourPop brow pencil in taupe, which is my like all-time favorite brow pencil. I don't think anything comes close to this formula, this price tag, as well as this shade for me personally. If you're like a blonde that gets like a slight rootage left behind, I never like bleach my whole head, I always have roots left behind, and then I feel like having really light brows doesn't work, but I almost have to like match them to my roots rather than to like the rest of my hair. And I'm starting to really enjoy like the 2016 brow again. I don't know why, I just think it looks so much better on me than the soap brow. Like the soap brow just really wasn't it for me. I tried it a few times and I just don't think it works for me. I think like a more structured brow really frames my eyes and my face. This is also my favorite lip pencil right now. It's the Charlotte Tilbury in Iconic Nude, not Pillow Talk. I know Pillow Talk's like the really popular one, but Iconic Nude is iconic and nude. I might do an eyeliner. I'm feeling a bit, you know, wild today. Okay, that is about as close as they're gonna get. Obviously it looks a bit wonky on camera because I'm not facing straight on. My lips look so weird. I'm gonna use my favorite lipstick, the Generation G by Glossier. They have the best shades and the best formula. This is Fuzz. It's a new shade they came out with recently. It's also the most comfortable matte formula, so if you're looking for something like that. And then I'm gonna use, they sent me recently the new Swiss Miss lip balm, which is limited edition. I'm hoping they still have it, but it's got like a brown tint, and these are my favorite lip balms. I get everyone onto them, so I'm gonna just post my Glossier affiliate link in the description if you guys want a discount. That also gives me a commission because I love Glossier products. I'm rewatching like late 90s, early 2000s TV shows like One Tree Hill, and I'm gonna start watching The OC, so the like 90s lip looks and eyeliner and like the whole situation just really is my vibe. I'm really feeling it right now. This is what I'm going with for today. Let me just do my eyelashes and then we'll just finish off the video. Okay, so that's the lashes and everything done, essentially the whole makeup look. I also added some of the Tati. I've been loving this palette again. Honestly, I said these shades are not like my shades right now. They really are. I don't know what I said, except for the orange row and like this row. I think the rest are like so my shades. I don't know what I was talking about. I just put this in the inner corner and this like all over the eyelid. Just for a slight sparkle, I don't know. Since then, both Manny and Laura are posting on YouTube consistently with much lower views. They used to get like up to 1 million views per video. Now they're getting like 100 to 200,000, which is still a great salary. It's just not what it used to be. Lost subs for ages, and now they're like either stagnant or they'll like lose some and then gain some, and then, but mainly it's just staying stagnant. Nikita has moved on to like other friendship groups. She's been with the Hype House and James and all the other people. So that's kind of, you know, neither here nor there. And mainly stays off YouTube. We also had Dramageddon 2, which opened a lot of eyes to who Jeffree Star actually is, but I'll kind of be doing 2 separate videos for Dramageddon 2 and Dramageddon 3 after this one, because otherwise the video would be 5,000 hours long. Gabriel Zamora doesn't post consistently and views have been really low, like below 10,000 views, mainly due to him moving away from beauty content and being very inconsistent. And Manny and Laura are still friends. So that's it. Subscribe, hit that bell, like, comment for engagement. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.